Hi, everybody. This is SAAD for the SAAD Truth. We often hear in public discourse the notion of radicalization. And so we hear that when an individual commits a grotesque attack on humanity, he must have been radicalized. And the mechanism by which such radicalization takes place is always very amorphous. We don't really seem to know how an individual is radicalized. Is it that you get an electric shock from rubbing your feet on the carpet that makes you be radicalized? Is it that maybe you were served a burrito that had too much spicy sauce that made you radicalized? It's unclear. Now, I seem to have narrowed down that radicalization is likely due to being exposed to ideas that are contained within certain books. Now, I have a very extensive personal library where I have, many hundreds of books, but I might have narrowed down the possible culprits to a few. So I'd like to kind of maybe go through them and see with you if we can find them. And I try to cover books that, cover a broad temporal range, so cover many eras. So here we go. I'm going to start with a very classic book, Plato's Selected Dialogues. So I'm going to look here. No, I'm not seeing any exact means by which you can be radicalized. Let me go on to, oh yeah, that's a good one. Another classic. You like how they're classic antique style books. The Confessions of Saint Augustine. Let me go through that. No, not really seeing any content that radicalizes you. Let me go through the granddaddy, the so-called Bible of, forgive the pun, of evolution, Charles Darwin, on the origin of species. The actual title is much longer, but let's just call it The Origin of Species. I think maybe that's where you can get radicalized. Let me check here. I'm looking. Whew, I'm not really seeing where you could be radicalized. So let me now actually look at, as you probably know, I have authored 3 books. Well, one is an edited book, and 2 are books that I've authored. So those are, I call these my Darwinian book trilogy. Let me see if I can go back to my own books and maybe capture some content that itself could be the catalyst of radicalization. So I'm going to start with my 2007 academic book, The Evolutionary Bases of Consumption. I'm looking here to see if, yeah, I'm not really seeing any radicalization. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. Now I'm going to go to my trade book that I wrote several years ago and came out in 2011, The Consuming Instinct, What Juicy Burgers, Ferraris, Pornography, and Gift-Giving Reveal About Human Nature. And I'm looking here. Well, there are a couple of photos. Maybe this photo can get you radicalized. Maybe the guy who is breakdancing, maybe that's a form of radicalization. But otherwise, I'm not really seeing anything. Let's keep going. I'm going to go next to my edited book. I have an introductory chapter, and then I've culled chapters from many leading scholars who work at the intersection of evolutionary psychology and the business sciences. So this is Evolutionary Psychology and the Business Sciences, my edited book, which constitutes my 3rd book within my Darwinian book trilogy. I think maybe this book is the one that really got people radicalized. I'm looking, not really seeing any radicalization. Just bear with me, I've got 2 more books. Then I thought, my books have been translated into other languages, these strange, obscure languages. Maybe that content, when it's translated, is what causes these folks who are causing global genocidal mayhem in every corner of the world through an amorphous, unclear, fuzzy radicalization process. So here is my book. Now, there was just a attempted Turkish coup, so this is quite apropos. Here is my Consuming Instinct book in Turkish. Now, I don't read or speak Turkish, but I think that I would probably be able to see the radicalization words jump at me. And I'm looking here. No, it all looks like peaceful, gentle, moderate Turkish. So no, that's probably not it. But you know what I think? Those Southern Korean folks have been really quiet and decent. I think they're up to something. So here is my consuming instinct translated in Korean. Now, I don't speak Korean, but again, I think I would be able to tell if somebody read this book. So see, look here. See all this Korean stuff? It could be what led people to be radicalized, but I'm going to have to say that none of my books, my Darwinian book trilogy, not the Confessions of St. Augustine, not Plato's Selected Dialogues, not Charles Darwin's Origin of Species, and countless, endless other books, none of these seem to have radicalized. If only there was a way that we could identify the contents of any books that if people read seriously and literally and take it to heart, that's what causes them to be radicalized. If anybody has any ideas, I mean, I can't go through, I've only went through a few books here, but there are, of course, millions of published books in libraries all over the world. If anybody has any idea which books might cause these people to be radicalized, please post it in the comments section so that we could really get to the bottom of this, because it is one gigantic enigma wrapped in a mystery, wrapped in an abyss of suicidal castrati thinking. Have a good weekend, everybody. Cheers.